One of the very special features of Brisbane, as I remember it, back in the 50s and the 60s, was the tram. One of the great things about the tram was you could always hear it coming, so you didn't miss it because you could hear it coming bang, 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 along the street. It was a very convenient way to travel because you could jump on it and jump off it, and of course it was great for Milton because the tram went along right beside Milton and you could jump off and go into the tennis centre there. So I thought it was a very sad day when we lost our trams at the end of the 60s.
Peter Racy here, Fruit Park YouTube channel. Good afternoon. I've just panned a piece of the famous Milton Tennis Courts stand, and we'll talk more about that particular piece later. And we're back here with Fay Toyne this afternoon at the special request of Travis Atkinson to talk about a story that came out of various emails, and that's how the English tried to poach you. And I'm deadly keen on hearing this story because I just think in amongst all the other stories that I've had the great pleasure to hear, this one just should be really an eye-popping one. Fay, over to you.
In 1968, I played in Cumberland and Connaught and won those tournaments against Christine Truman and Virginia Wade, and I had also beaten her in Virginia Wade in the 64-65 semi-final of the British Covered Court Championships, and following on from that, in 68 I beat her in the Italian and the German Championships, and after Wimbledon, where I got to the last 16 that year in singles, England came to me and said that would I like to play for them, and the only proviso was that I had to get a British passport. So I went to Australia House and asked them whether I could get a British passport, and told them. They said why, and I told them, and they said, well, you can't hold two passports, and if you get a British passport, your Australian one will be cancelled, and there is very much doubt that you will get your Australian one back. And with that information, I decided that I couldn't live in London all my life if I didn't get the Australian one back. So I decided that I wouldn't play for, well, I couldn't play for them, which I really would have liked to have played for them.
And I can understand, I think, given the poor treatment that you were actually getting out of Australia from Tennis Australia, or its equivalent at the time. So the motivations, Queensland treated you reasonable, but...
Yes, Queensland treated me very well. I was in 3 Wilson Cup teams, and I worked for Dunlops, and they were connected with Queensland in many ways, and yeah, they always treated me well, because they were instrumental in starting off the Hopman Cup squad, and which benefited everybody in Queensland.
Yeah, it was just the that trailing around and phoning you when every time you won not a huge amount of prize money, and just as I said, I can understand why you thought that, well, okay, maybe I can get better recognition and better respect out of the English team, but thank God the rules were as what they were in hindsight.
Yes, it's we had so many good players in Australia at the time, they didn't think that they had to look after me, so they were following me even when I was coming back to Australia and sending telegrams saying don't give her her expenses.
Yeah, so well.
Yeah.
a great period of tennis in Australia, and that's what these YouTubes are about, trying to capture at least a small segment of that period, so that people in the future can just see just how strong tennis was in Australia in those late 40s, 50s, 60s, and into the 70s and 80s. And with that, we'll call this one at an end, but come back because we've really got some interesting points to discuss in relation to the Hopman Cup. Thank you and good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Hugh Lund. Welcome to the Fruit Park YouTube channel. And what we're seeing here today is that at every tram stop in Brisbane, every lamppost is painted exactly like this, starting about there, finishing there with 2 red lines, the number of the tram stop, and hail trams here.